Well, it's a pleasure to have you here with us both today and as a partner of Awakenpedia. I'm looking forward to introducing you to everyone that's a part of this journey with us. And I know that this chat has been a long time coming. Thank you for your patience and flexibility getting it on the calendar. Um, but this is, as I'm sure I've alluded to, and you've seen, very informal chats, right? Just to give you the chance to express yourself, energetically, that is, and to showcase who you are, what you do, why you do it, how you came about into doing this work, and what your personal intentions are, perhaps in that sense. So. Um, I like to start these by asking you to share a bit about your personal journey, whatever you're willing to get into, but it helps to give everyone a sense of you, right? And what's led to your own transformations. And so if we can start there, that'd be nice.
Sure, of course. My personal journey, gosh, I feel like there's like two versions of that. There's the version of hindsight, which has like so much clarity, right, where everything makes sense. And then there's a version of like real time when I was going through it, which was absolute confusion and
Yeah.
and chaos and suffering and all those things. So I guess maybe I could keep shifting perspectives, but wellness became very important to me at a very young age. I was like a sickly child. I seemed to always be sick. Um, Again, in hindsight, I have a much deeper understanding of how energy impacted me. I'm very empathetic as a sensitive child. I was sort of born with this heaviness and sadness, which sounds kind of bizarre. And I've always kind of questioned that because I had a seemingly lovely family. I mean, they were a very loving family, but I just couldn't understand why I felt so out of place. And sort of like that feeling of like, I don't really belong here. I'm very different. But then it was coming from like my heart, where I was having a very difficult time connecting, even with family, and friends and things like that. So I think at a very young age, I learned to wear different masks, which indeed did not help my wellness. um, and so I believed around a young teenager, around 15, I believed that I needed to dive deep into wellness, what my young mind thought that was, so that I could feel better. And so I started a career at a very young age, and I dove into nutrition. I mean, I quit fast food when I was 15. I was a personal trainer, teaching classes by the time I was 17, and really thought I had it all figured out. Oh, take care of my body, I eat right, I move, and I'm going to feel great. And I started a career, in the field, and it was like my dark secret that no matter how clean I ate, no matter how, I just cared for my body like it was a temple. Um, and I was still not well. I wasn't feeling well. And that kind of developed a toxic relationship with my body. I was sort of constantly disappointed, frustrated, like, what else do you want from me kind of attitude. Because even in high school, I mean, I missed a lot of school because I was always sick and all the things, right? And then, oh gosh, let me keep going here. So my undergrad is in art. So I always believed in having a creative outlet, that was also contributed to my well-being. I love to dance. I started my career in the field of recreation, really believing that the arts and again, sound nutrition and movement was all there was to healing. And then I will say, by 2010, my mom passed from cancer very unexpectedly. Like by the time we learned she was sick, she was gone in 8 weeks. And that was my pivotal moment. It just kind of everything that I had done trying to build a healthy lifestyle, healthy living, just crumbled beneath me. I had my master's degree in psychology and human behavior, so all of the coping mechanisms, like I knew all the things, and I was unraveling at a terrifying speed. And I mean, I was fearful. It wasn't just grief at that stage of my life. It was fear. It was so much. And so out of pure desperation and knowing everything that I knew about wellness up to that point was not the answer.
Mm.
And I needed to find the answer fast because I was losing myself. And that's when I dove in. I had already explored Reiki. And I remember actually when my mom was in hospice, working with her energy, trying to make her transition to be less painful. But I was in such a bad place that I wasn't even using that modality for myself and my own healing. But I started to just dive into energy psychology, energy healing, holistic EFT, all the things that I had never tried before because I knew I needed to try something different. And it was a little bit against my nature. I'm a Virgo. I'm a creative, but I'm also very analytical. So my approach to things previous to this was to study, to understand, you know, apply, collect data, all the things. But again, all of that went out the window because I was just so desperate. And that's when I had my biggest breakthrough. And I will sum up my life story a little bit. By 2020, my dad passed. So there was this 10 years of me doing so hard work. And I remember the morning after he passed, sort of waking up in a fright, thinking like, having a flashback that I was going to just enter this age of suffering again. But then it was just so clear to me how far I've come, how all of the work that I've done, that I knew I had the tools, I knew I had the capacity to heal. And and it was no reflection of, you know, measuring how much I love my mom and how much I love my dad. You know, it was just how much I've grown. And in that moment, in 2020, everything just accelerated at a rapid rate. You know, what I do and how I help others and my own personal healing has just been, like I said, faster than I thought I could even keep up. But, you know, here I am and living my best life. So, and I'm grateful that we have crossed paths. You know, no doubt my journey has just led me to the most beautiful souls. And I'm grateful to do the work that I do. And I love the work that I do so much that I do it on myself every single day.
Yeah, and that's I think that's so beautiful and so important. You know that you are your own guinea pig in that sense. You teach from direct experience, and that is the anchor of every partner of ours. That um, is why I think we're so effective and able to help others because we've done it to ourselves, tried and tested in that way. Um,
Absolutely.
but anyway, and I want to get in. We'll get into that next in terms of what actually you do, in terms of your offerings. But I do want to say thank you for sharing your story and walking us through your path. And I find it interesting how we all have our own narratives and our own unique pathways around and up the mountain, but we're all headed towards the same summit. And
Absolutely.
um, I think your story is very relatable too in many ways in terms of just, of course, dealing with adversities in the various forms, but using your body and believing the body is the way towards fulfillment, salvation, healing. The way to kind of come into happiness and peace, um, only to be disillusioned by that false promise, that false god that the body is. I was like that myself. I played sports my whole life. I was like the fit guy in the gym, like
Yeah.
always trying to do that. And similarly, I had a fit body for periods of time, and in those times that you feel good and big and strong, and then ebbs and flows happen, and you go in cycles. You lose it, you get it, you lose it, you get it, and through those cycles, that's when I questioned the foundation of it all. Like, is this actually true? Is this the way?
Yeah.
So the body is so often that first, belief that in my mind and in my experience, is what collapses, because we tend to use it and see it as the temple, um, in and of itself, without, exclusively, without any other connection to mind and body, mind and spirit.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's transition into how all of this has led to what you do now,
Sure.
and if you could kind of just dive into what that actually is. I know that you have a really wide range of interests, expertise, experience, from shamanism to EFT to flower therapy to Reiki. So if you could just talk to us about, your suite of offerings, and if you specialize in any in particular of those, slash how you actually go about servicing them on a client basis.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of chuckle to myself like when I teach classes and you have your introduction slide with your credential because everybody wants to know, what you studied in your background. And to me, it's just a roadmap of my personal healing. Every single certification, and I love to learn. I will always continue, to educate myself, but it really is a map of my journey. So I still have, and it's funny, I do have a wide range of offerings, and the right client always finds me no matter where they are in their journey. Because again, like you said, we're all on the same path, and it just is. It's always a reminder too of where someone is at, and I could always remember, kind of being in that place. And so I feel like that is one of my strengths, is having the ability to meet someone where they're at. Even I had a career for 25 years. I retired. I was deputy director of workforce development in the field of Parks and Rec. And so it was employee wellness. And so there your client base is, a huge range of people, it's a workforce. So just kind of being able to meet the individual where they're at and have them understand that their well-being is priority, and what their wellness journey looks like is unique to them. So with that, I still do have clients that are really kind of focused. Their entry into my doorway is really focused on the physical body, and it could be anything from, I'm carrying this weight, I'm not sure, what it is, or I have, an emotional eating behaviors that I'm trying to release, all the things. And I have a few modalities that folks have been, which is exciting, that they haven't been exposed to, they haven't tried, and because they have still the mindset of kind of separation of, this is a physical body problem, this is a behavior problem, I'm emotionally struggling with this. They don't realize that that it's all interconnected, right? And that we can form a strategy that can address all the things. They think they need sort of prioritize all the different things. So maybe we should do this first and then move into this. And like I said, they're all interconnected. You address the root issue and everything falls into alignment, which is a beautiful thing to witness. So some of my favorite modalities, I would actually probably start with holistic EFT, which is the modality that's close to my heart because I feel like it's the one that saved me. When I mentioned my story about struggling with grief, I had a profound release, my very first experience with it with another practitioner. So again, this was before I studied it. So holistic EFT is just a beautiful hybrid of like cognitive therapy and working with acupressure, and it's very diverse. Again, I've worked with folks who are just trying to quit smoking. Is what they again showed up in my doorstep with, and then again, it just releasing grief. So emotional behavior change, emotional changes, but it's all interconnected, right? So our behavior is always dictated by our thoughts and our emotions. So we work through that, with emotional holistic EFT. Um, Another one of my absolute favorites is Bach Flower Therapy. So again, I feel like many people don't know the power behind these essences, but it's a lot of the times it's kind of where we'd like to start, because a lot of people are looking for behavior modifications, which is really hard to do if emotionally and mentally you're struggling or there's imbalance there. So even if you have willpower or discipline or the strongest and purest intentions, if you are really grappling with fear or anxiety, depression, lack of confidence, grief, you name it. It's causing imbalances and it's impacting our behavior. So with Bach Flower Essence, we can do a full consultation to determine what are the imbalances that are going on. And once we restore the balances, our behavior naturally changes. So it's not forcing ourselves to stop something or start a good habit or all the things. Everything just sort of falls into alignment. So it's always working from the inside out.
Yeah.
When I find, and it was my own personal experience, like we're looking at the external world all the time, we're looking at where we want to be and frustrated that we're not there, and we're looking for all these changes to make outside of ourselves, or all of these things to do outside of ourselves. But when you work from the inside out, right, our best life is a natural byproduct to those internal shifts. And the last thing I will say is everything that I do is always rooted in nature. One of my personal experiences that did not resonate with me when I was struggling with my health, whether it was a physical ailment or, my mental health, was surgery and chemical alteration medication never resonated with me. And the traditional medical model, that was all they had to offer me. And I was like, no, I'm not feeling that. I'm going to go see if there's other options. And so that kind of is what put me on my path. And I have found that nature heals. Nature has never let me down. And again, I feel like a lot of people don't know all of their options. So minimally, I want to empower others to explore all their options and to only choose what feels best to them, and not to give away their power and feel like they need to go down a path that someone, with a certain degree and a certain white coat is told them, or, out of fear, just sort of, start grasping at straws and doing things that don't feel right. So it's about grounding, centering yourself, go within, reconnecting to your highest self, and making choices that are best for you. And everybody's individual path is just that. It's just individualized and personal. And I'd like to just hold a safe space to have a full, honest exploration for individuals so that they can achieve, their optimal well-being, their best life. I'm not even sure if I answered your question, Cam.
You did. No, that was beautiful. Thank you you're just giving us an overview of the different types of modalities that you serve and can speak to, and that you've used in your own journey. If you could, I would love for you to kind of give a bit of an overview of what Bach Flower Therapy is. I don't think many people, including myself, have a really nuanced understanding of that modality. So can you just tell us about that and like what it is, how it works?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I actually recently started to teach a couple of workshops online to expose people of it. But so Edward Bach, so it's named after him. There are other flower essences. I use Bach flower because, Edward Bach I guess you could probably describe, he was many things. He was a physician, but like it's sort of close to homeopathic. But basically there are essences, 35 different flowers. And he kind of categorized them, which is a beautiful thing. So if it's, uncertainty or fear or despair, and what that looks like, just to, I guess, to make this feel really tangible, is that I would do a full consult with someone who was interested in it. So it's sort of a series of questions. It's a soulful kind of conversation to see identify these repeating patterns, whether it's behavior or unwanted thoughts or like energy levels. And once we identify those, I tend to work with no more than 7 flowers, but crafting a tincture that is a personalized blend of the flowers that will best restore balance. So it's sort of similar to like working with crystals, or anything in nature, right? Everything is energy, and it vibrates at a certain frequency that can be measured, right? So including our emotions. So it's taking an emotion, let's say it's fear, and using a flower that will that the vibration will restore balance. So instead of being at a low vibration, it raises our vibration and it restores balance to diminish and eliminate the fear. Which, the important part of that is, if we're living our life from a place of fear, we're absolutely not living our best life, and we're not making the choices that, you know, our heart desires. And that has like just this ripple effect of how we're feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, and such. So after the consult, I mean, usually it's pretty immediate too, that clients will feel the shift. And I encourage them to sort of, so that we identify the behaviors or the emotions or the mental states that we want to see change. And I'd like to quantify them. So we'll rank them, you know, 0, it's gone away. 10 is very, very intense. And then each day I just, again, it's also increasing awareness, right? Self-awareness, which is so empowering. And they're sort of measuring and to pay attention to these shifts. And it's such a beautiful organic process where, you know, again, as we're in a more balanced state, we're ultimately living our lives in a completely different manner. And it could be anything from the choices that we're making to sleeping better. And again, all of those things, it's a domino effect. It's impacting all aspects of our life. So, so yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful modality, and it's also very, very diverse. Most folks are pretty surprised at how the flowers can impact them. And a lot of people are, again, to kind of give a comparison, a lot of people are familiar with like working with crystals, mm-hmm. and how, you know, the characteristics of a crystal can help for moods and such. And same thing with essential oils, yeah. Right? And the frequencies of each oil, and working with different ailments and things like that to restore balance in the body. So it's very, very similar to that. You ingest the flowers. Again, it's a liquid form tincture. You can put it in a glass of water. You can even put it in your bath water, you know, and it's beautiful because we're changing the molecular structure of the water, right? So it's sort of almost like you're making more of it when you're putting, you know, your personalized blend into your bath, and then you're submerging your whole body, you know, into this bath water. It's an amazing treatment for healing. So there's a few different ways to work with it, but nonetheless, it's one of the most amazing ways that nature has to offer healing to us.
Yeah, that sounds incredible, and definitely not one I've heard much about. So I'm excited just to kind of help you to educate, yeah. Further educate the world on this modality. How do you source the flowers? Like, so where do people get the flowers from if they're going to work with you? Do you, you know, like, how's that work?
So I actually have the kit. So I would create it, and then I ship them right out.
Okay.
And I will say, so some practitioners will use brandy as a preservative. I actually use apple cider vinegar because of the health benefits. And it is Reiki and crystal infused, the water that I use. And then, yeah, so basically the consult, everything happens so fast. The consult might take about 45 minutes. And then I process the results. I create the personalized blend and I ship it right out.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Yeah. And one thing also I meant to, perhaps an additional segue here is, you know, looking at how you kind of package these. You know, we talked about the modalities that you serve and are part of your total practice, but how do you structure these? Is it one-to-one group sessions? Is it, you know, multiple months, single sessions? Do you have courses around this stuff? Like, how do you package all of these insights?
Yeah. That's a great question. And it's kind of like all of the above. So I enjoy both working with individuals and groups. You know, there's amazing benefits to both. And I also like to work, so I work with large groups, and like, you know, that beautiful energy of a large group, of, you know, that just the love and that you can feel there. And I do that both online and in person in various communities. I also enjoy working in small groups. It kind of reminds me back in the day, God, in the 90s, you know, small group personal training. It was like such a great way. It's a little more affordable than, you know, a one-on-one session, but you can tailor it a little bit more. It's a little more personalized than if you're in a large group event. So I also do things like that. And then the individual sessions are, of course, tailored, one-on-one. I do that virtual. And then at my office, my main office is in Plainfield, Illinois. Um, so, and as far as where I would like to recommend people to start, because it is a lot, and it's a lot of different modalities, and some people have heard of, like Reiki, for example. Some people are just drawn because I'm not sure what it is, but I want to try it. And then other things like Bach Flower Therapy, they're not really sure what that is either. So usually what I recommend is a free clarity call. So people can just, log on, pick a date and time that works for them, and then we have a conversation. It's easier for me to give recommendations or give options for them to choose from that I feel is best suitable or the fastest way for healing, and what kind of feels right to them, and through a organic, soulful conversation, that's the best way to determine that. So I usually would recommend that. And then as far as sessions, again, they're offered virtually and they're offered in person. That's really just a preference. Some people like the convenience of doing something virtually. Some people like, to be in person. And then it kind of grows from there. So a lot of people will enjoy just working one-on-one with me. A lot of people then are exposed to the different type of events that are available to them. Once they start to feel, oh, this is my vibe, this is what I've been looking for, these are the people I want to connect with. That's what's so beautiful about creating these communities, right? It's all part of the journey. You meet all, people who are on their own journey. So yeah, that's my long answer to both individual and group, both virtual and in person.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, it sounds like you have such a wide range of offerings and how it's structured, and I really appreciate you started with the intention of just meeting them where they are, because that's so important, to allow somebody to just be where they are, right? Because you have to start with that acceptance.
Absolutely.
Opens the doorway to healing, to transmutation, and release here, coming back into love and in that state of balance.
Absolutely. And enjoy the journey. We can't get too caught up in where we want to be, or, the sadness that's lingering of where we were like this. I feel like a lot of people are just forget about the present moment, right? And honoring where you're at, and loving the process of remembering who you really are, and not getting caught up of where you want to be. There's beauty in the journey. And so I think that's something really important to hold on to.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
The journey is everything, right? And if we're not enjoying it, something is in need of correction, because we've been designed to enjoy this experience. And that does not mean that without challenge.
Right.
It just means to be able to see challenges in their true view, and to use them to serve us, or to serve our ascension and the growth here. And so that's all part of it. But yeah, being able to enjoy the roller coaster of this mystery ride we call life. It's I like to end these chats by asking you to share any advice you would like to extend to the group. And I know you've already shared quite a bit, but it's really just an invitation. It's a moment of tapping into your heart space to see if anything is coming through you to extend to the community. And it can be anything at all that you feel guided to share in any way. So, I'd like to invite you to share that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. My wise words. Besides enjoying the journey,
Yeah.
I would have to say that the answer is self-love. That the answer to everything is self-love. You are not lacking. You're always exactly where you need to be. And part of enjoying the journey, and part of evolving and growth and development, all of that in health and wellness, all of that, the foundation is self-love. And if you can just remind yourself that you are worthy, that you are valuable, that you are good enough, that is the answer. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds like a riddle, but I invite others to just, meditate on that and just always, love is the healer and you are love. And living from that perspective will change your life.
Yeah. Amen. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I see it that way too. Where you either are seeing and living from love or from fear. And if you can remember the love that you are, fear and love can't coexist. So, seeing with love, remembering you are love, that will be extended into everything you do, every interaction you have, and just witness how much life changes if you can remember the love that you are. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up. Thank you so much for sharing everything about you, your journey, your offerings and practice. And for everyone who tuned in today, thank you. This video will be shared in your partner profile, and everyone can learn more about you there, your bio, booking links, discounts, all that good stuff.
Sounds
So,
great.
yeah,
Thank you, Cam.
thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, and looking forward to seeing how this all unfolds out of the unknown together.
Yeah, all good things.
Okay, bye
Uh,
bye.
Bye.